Hey, welcome. Today, I want to talk to you about the scroll of death in Blackboard. I first learned about this when I was working with Moodle Learning Management System, and they had a term scroll of death. And the idea of the scroll of death is you go into a course site and you would scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll to get to the content that you needed. And as I've looked at different courses, I noticed that some folks are replicating this scroll of death in Blackboard. So I just want to kind of show it, talk about some options, why this is probably not the best option to use to put everything on one page and to kind of break it up, from at least from a student's point of view, and show you maybe some other possibilities. So these are some courses I kind of threw together using some dummy content, dummy information, but I hope they kind of point out what I'm talking about. So this first one, scroll of death number 1, what I've done here is I have a content page where I've put all my content. And so I have a 16-week course, and in this 16-week course, I have this, opening information, and I may put in, a page of information on a topic, and then we talk about topic 2, and then topic 3 within that first week, and then we go into week 2, and I'm doing the same thing. And I didn't repeat this for all the way through the course, but as we kind of work through week 16, and students have to go find this material, you can see that we're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to finally get into week 16 or 15, that they're scrolling forever. So if you're thinking from a student's perspective, or even an instructor's perspective, if you have to go through this and you find your discussions and everything's on the same place, and you're in week 10, you've got to kind of sort it out, which requires that you have some really good labels, to be able to identify that information quickly, but it becomes a mess, and cognitively it's an overload, and it's really hard to, from a student's perspective, to kind of find that information, make sense of it. There's just too much to be looking at. So what can we do? Well, we can go to another version. So here I've done a little different. So when I go to my content, I have, my week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15 weeks of information. And I've done a little better because I don't have to scroll as far. But also when I go into this, now I have that information, and I'm scrolling and scrolling and scrolling if you have a lot of information on that particular topic. Also, the challenge with this, and in the first example I gave, and also this one, if a student wants to just get topic D here, and you have all this information spread out like you do, they have to basically do a cut and paste and put it into another document to print it. Because if they just wanted to print this, they would actually have to print all of it. And this doesn't allow them to compartmentalize and organize it the way they want to. And this is one of the recommendations actually for building a syllabus, is to give a syllabus that's a PDF document so they can print the whole syllabus, but also break it up into its own pieces so a student can just go to that particular piece. So here, once again, we have a little bit of scroll of death going on. So my scroll of death number 3 is, if I was starting at the home screen, if I click on, I could have a list, say, of weeks here off to the side, and this is you could either do this individually like I did on scroll of death number 2 and have each week broken down, and then individually going to various documents, what I'll show you in a second. Or you can have all the weeks listed off to the side, and they can click on an appropriate week. You just turn them on as they come on in your course. But in here, I have week 1. So I have a variety of different topics here. So I have content. All my content is grouped together. And I have some discussion boards and assignments that are also placed together. One of the things that I did is I turned on the mark reviewing, which is something that you have to do after you put the content in. So it's another step for you, but it allows them to kind of check it off and keep tabs on what they did. By going in and clicking on week 1 topic A, now I can see the topic. And if I wanted to, I can print this out, and I would just get that particular topic. And then I can go back to week 1 and move on to topic B and look at that particular topic if I wanted to print it out. And I can also mark it as being reviewed. And so that lets me know where I'm in the course. There's some downsides. It increases the number of clicks that students have to do. But the upside is it allows them to print out only the content they want and not be forced to print out everything. But also it allows you as a faculty member to turn tracking on and track how well that students are using your particular content, how much they are accessing it. So this is, we started out with just a long screen with everything, which I honestly have seen. Week 1, we broke it into weeks, but still a lot of scrolling. In this case, I can also break it into weeks, but now I'm doing, I've broken it down to individual items. I can do better tracking, but it requires students to click in. Okay. My last one is just a little different. This was a strategy, and I could have done it on the home screen, but I didn't. But this is a strategy that you can use the visual map, for example, and from that visual map create a clickable image that will take students to that particular set of properties. So I just have a stupid image here. So I'm going to go here, start here. And all my content is actually down here, and if I broke up my content, you can see I have all those weeks, and they're still there. But I don't emphasize that. So I really buried it on the sheet, but students can still get to it. But I have, start here, and it actually comes up to an image. And that's it. That's all there is. And based on this image, you would have to put some instruction. But now I have what's called a hot map. So as you look at my cursor moving around the screen, it doesn't change until it moves over this computer screen. And when I click on that, it now brings me to that week of content. And so you could organize this, based on whatever map that you create. Maybe you have a mind map that talks about your course, and it's an exploration type course where they click on these different parts of the mind map, and it takes them to that part of the course. They get the same, the content here. They can return to the map, and they could potentially click on something else. The only thing I have hot right now is this computer screen. But that gives you an idea that I could click on this, it brings it here, and I can go back. This takes a little more energy, and I would love to show you how to do this. It just kind of makes your course a little different, just a little more visual. Once again, you still have the capability for ADA, where they can go down to content and just bypass the map entirely, but just a different way, different types of learner. So that is a little way to kind of break up the scroll of death, and hopefully that will give you some ideas on how to improve the navigation for your course.